Hey everybody, it's Galmadex and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing a quick draft of Innistrad Crimson Vow. So without further ado, let's take a peek at what's in this pack and take something sweet. So our rare is Dying to Serve, which is a really fun blood token build around, giving us a 2/2 tapped zombie once per turn as we crack our blood tokens. Cobble Lancer is a nice card in the self-mill decks, because if you mill this, you exile and draw a card, and if you mill other creatures, then you just play this for cheap. It's also just fine in any blue deck. Foreboding Statue is fun if you're trying to play a lot of colors, splash some stuff in, and then we have a few pretty good commons. Ancestor, kind of a roadblock against aggressive decks. Imprisonment's a good removal spell. Hunter's a nice way to stabilize late game in the green decks. Pretty sweet pack here. We even have like a Syncopate in blue, which is not bad. Nice counterspell. I think I'm just going to go with the rare here, Dying to Serve. If you have enough blood tokens to trigger this consistently, this can be quite the zombie army. Getting a 2/2 zombie once per turn. So now pick 2. We do see some good black cards to follow that up, or some good stuff in some other colors. I do like Wedding Security, and this will go really well into the same kind of deck that Dying to Serve will. This is a 5 mana 4/4. When it attacks, if you crack a blood token, you put a +1/+1 counter on this and just draw a card instead of discarding to draw a card. So Wedding Security and Dying to Serve, both blood token build around cards. So, pretty big fan of that. We also have Diregraph Scavenger at common, which has been incredible. Just trades up into anything because of its Death Touch, while shutting off some graveyard shenanigans with its Exile effect and draining your opponent for some life. Just does a lot for that cost there. Blood Fountain's pretty good recursion and gives us a blood token, so works well with Dying to Serve. And then the off-color stuff, we have Flame Blessed Bolt being one of the best common removal spells. Just super cheap, and it exiles the creature that you're shooting. So super nice card there. There's also like Weaver of Blossoms is one of my favorite green commons for just helping you splash some stuff in. And a pretty good green uncommon, Oakshade Stalker here, just a big old werewolf. You could flash it out if you want. I think I'm just going with Wedding Security here, going for some blood tribal stuff if we can. Alright, now a Bleed Dry here, pick 3 is easily going to be the pick. This is probably the best black common in the format. Just an excellent removal spell, instant speed, -13/-13 kills pretty much everything, and you exile it from the grave, and we get to stick to our mono black roots here and keep it going. Other cards in the pack that are notable, the Scavenger that I said, Distracting Geist, good for aggro. That's about it. I think Bleed Dry is actually just the best card in this pack, so really nice that the best card in that pack is in black. Pack 4 now, or pick 4, I should say. We have Sigarda's Imprisonment if we want removal in white. If we want to get aggressive and be in the color that makes the most blood tokens, we could take like Voltaic Visionary in red here, 2 mana for a 3/1. You can tap it, deal some damage to yourself, and cast the top card of your library. You do have to have the mana to do so. But it's a pretty nice little piece of card draw, as well as being a 3/1 for 2. I think I like taking Voltaic Visionary here with both both Dying to Serve and Wedding Security. We want to make a lot of blood tokens, and the 2 colors that produce the most tokens are black and red. So I'm going to prioritize red a little bit over white, while I do think the white removal would be a solid pick here, like Sigarda's Imprisonment or Fierce Retribution. Probably take Imprisonment before Retribution, but both are good. There's even like a good blue card here, Scattered Thoughts being a nice draw spell, but Voltaic Visionary I think is not too far off from those cards. It's also quite a good card, and it's just in a color pair that's going to help us do what we're trying to do with our rares. Alright, now I'm pretty happy to take a Blood Fountain, although Belligerent Guest would not be bad either. This one's spitting out a blood token whenever we deal damage to our opponent. I think Blood Fountain's a bit better. This is just quite a good recursion spell if your opponent isn't exiling everything you do. That has happened to me before. It is sad when it happens, but Blood Fountain, super nice late game piece of recursion. And early in the game it only costs 1 mana to put it out, so you get that blood token pretty quickly for cards like Dying to Serve. So yeah, again, Belligerent Guest, Blood Fountain, my top 2 picks here. There are powerful off-color cards like Infestation Expert, Drogskull Infantry. Fleeting Spirit actually would be the pick if we were wanting to go white, but yeah, good off-color stuff, but I'm really trying to do the blood deck thing here, so we'll take a Blood Fountain. Now pick 6. Thanks to taking Blood Fountain and being mostly in black here, we are still open to potentially playing a different color pair. We're definitely playing black, but we're not necessarily playing red. We're just trying to. That being said, neither of these red cards really do much for our black-red blood deck, so we could be open to taking a stronger card in a different color like Lantern Bearer or Spore Crawler, both of these being great commons. Lantern Bearer, 1 mana, 1/1 flyer, disturb it for 3, give something flyer late game, or flying late game. This is a really nice card. It just gets some chip damage in early, and then all of a sudden any of your mid-range creatures, mid-range mediocre stuff like a 2/2 or a 3/3, becomes a 3/3 flyer or a 4/4 flyer. Really, really big buff there, actually. So I do like Lantern Bearer a lot. Spore Crawler is pretty good too, a 3 mana 3/2 that replaces itself, but I think Lantern Bearer is just going to be a bit better, and it also combos well with blood tokens. If we discard it, we still have access to the enchantment half, the Lantern's Lift, from our graveyard. So now we have Undying Malice, which is fine as a one of. Phalanx, very not high on, or like Grizzly Ritual. Probably just take the Grizzly Ritual here. It's a lot of mana, but it does destroy anything that we want to shoot, plus give us some blood tokens, so it should be decent in our deck. Again, the big drawback being that it does cost 6 mana, so there are going to be games that just end before you even have enough to cast it. So that is a pretty big drawback, but other than that, I think it's a pretty great card here. I guess we're only 1 card deep into blue and 1 card deep into red, so we could still take like Dormant Grove. I do think this card is nasty. 4 mana for an enchantment, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature during your combat. If the creature has 6 toughness or greater, you flip this into a big old 3/6 that gives your whole field vigilance. Dormant Grove is pretty nasty card, and we do already have a bleed drive for removal this early on, so we're not like super missing out. Like 1 or 2 removal spells per pack is fine. Only need, 2 to 5 at the end. I'm actually going to take Dormant Grove over Grizzly Ritual, and we're still going to be open to basically anything for our second color. And we do see an Infestation Expert passed around pick 8 here. Means this wheeled around, nobody took the Infestation Expert. Do like this card quite a bit. 5 mana for 4 power and 5 toughness. It's a 3/4 body and a 1/1 body, or during the night it is much better. 5 mana for a 4/5 and 2 1/1s. During the night, discard's absurd. I think I'll take it here, and potentially we're moving into green. This is also a high toughness card, which helps with Dormant Grove, trying to flip that. And green-black is kind of a high toughness color pair, like archetype. And yeah, green's still looking pretty open, seeing a nice late Flourishing Hunter, super nice for stabilizing later in the game. I'll slam that in here. Alright, things are going awesome for us. Now we have Weaver Blossoms and Apprentice Sharpshooter. Both would be good in green-black because, again, we have some high toughness matters cards, like Flourishing Hunter that checks the highest toughness you have, or the green-black uncommon if we manage to pick that up. I think I'm going to take Weaver Blossoms here. I love that this just helps you splash, and it helps with the kind of high toughness theme green-black's going for. This is also a card that's going to trigger the day-night cycle earlier in the game. If you can get the day-night cycle going before you cast your Infestation Expert, that makes it a lot better, because if you're a deck with no other werewolves to where you're always casting this just as the daytime 5 mana 3/4, then it's not super good. But if you have enough werewolves to where you could potentially cast this just immediately during the night and have this come out as the 4/5, that's when you're really getting immense value from the Infestation Expert. So I think I'm taking Weaver Blossoms here. I love its ability to help us splash. It's a pretty decently sized body, and it helps get day and night flipping early. Point of Discussion is quite a good card too. It's just a big draw spell, which is certainly nice, certainly not bad at all. I think it's definitely on par with those creatures there for the potential pick out of that pack. Here we'll take a nice little combat trick, Witch's Web. Always happy to run a one of that. Dawnheart Disciple it is, as we round out the pack down to just a few cards left. And wow, we get another Flourishing Hunter. Normally I don't want to overload myself on high mana cost cards early in the game, but we do have 1 mana ramp card, the Weaver of Blossoms. And Flourishing Hunter is just probably the best 6-drop in the color pair that we could get at common for sure. So I think we're definitely black-green here, which is a little unfortunate, seeing we have a really fun build-around blue mythic rare here, but it's just not going to happen. That being said, there's pretty much nothing I would play in green or black here. I don't want to play Sheltering Boughs or Mulch, Vampire's Kiss, Nature's Embrace, Groom's Finder. These are all pretty filler. Like, they could make the cut if we don't get enough playables, but I think we're so likely to get enough playables. I'm just going to draft the really fun rare for my collection. The rare draft, I guess, do I have one yet? I don't have a single copy yet, so I can't play this card in Historic Brawl unless I have at least one copy. If I had one copy, I might not rare draft it here, but I have 0, so rare draft. Rare draft it is there. There's just nothing great in our colors. All right, this pack, there's a lot that's great in our colors. We have another Wedding Security. We have a Wolf Strike for removal. We have Weaver of Blossoms for more ramp. We have Doom Dissenter for an early game blocker. Spore Crawler, pretty similar. These are excellent cards here. Pretty big fan. So we already have Bleed Dry, but that's it for removal. How high of a pick would the Wolf Strike be then for us? So here's our actual like creature curve here. We don't have a lot of creatures. Could be just a second Wedding Security, but we're not actually doing very well on the blood theme. We just have the one blood fountain right now. That's it for producing blood tokens. So we could end up in a world where we don't even get to play Dying to Serve. We're just playing like Wedding Security as a 5-mana 4/4 most of the time. And green doesn't really produce blood tokens, so I don't think we want a second Wedding Security. I don't think we want to go that hard into blood tokens when we're in green-black as a color pair. So I think Wedding Security's off the menu. Laid to Rest also probably off the menu. This card's fine in green-white because you have enough humans to trigger the draw pretty often, and a lot of +1/+1 counters to get the life. The draw is more important than the life, but in green-black we're not going to have a boatload of humans. I mean, green will have a few, but I don't think enough to play Laid to Rest, so I think Weaver Blossoms, Wolf Strike, Doom Dissenter. Doom Dissenter is kind of a low pick. Mainly for blue-black decks, it's a higher pick. So, alright, these 3 green cards are probably the picks. We really don't have a lot of creatures yet. With the double Flourishing Hunter, we have 2 5-mana cards and 2 6-mana cards. I'm really high up on Weaver of Blossoms here for getting those cards out early. Getting a nice ramp. Yeah, maybe wrong not to just slam Wolf Strike, but I'm going to take another Weaver of Blossoms here. Make sure I'm dumping out these powerful 5 and 6 mana cards as early as possible. Alright, I'll definitely take the Wolf Strike this time around. I do think Spore Crawler is good. Gluttonous Guest is good as well, but Spore Crawler probably a little better. But I don't want to pass up on every removal spell I see. A third Weaver of Blossoms or a Blood Fountain to help with Dying to Serve, but again, in our color pair, I could see it being pretty likely that we end up cutting that. I kind of just like a third Weaver of Blossoms, and now we're really open to taking more like 6-mana creatures. Yeah, that seems exciting to me. I'm just going to cut Dying to Serve right now, to be honest. So green-black isn't looking particularly open from this direction, but pack 1 it was definitely. The late cards that we were seeing, like Flourishing Hunter with 3 cards in the pack, something like that. Green-black's plenty open in the first pack. At least green is. Black is not super open. So this pack might be a little rough. We might not be getting a lot of great playables, but we'll be getting like filler at least. So we'll take a Rural Recruit there. I want to make sure I have enough 2-drops. I don't want to have everything at 3 or more mana. Plus I already have 3 3-mana cards, the Weaver Blossoms, so I'm not going to take Sharpshooter here. I'm going to take Dawnheart Disciple. Make sure I have some creatures to come out and block in the early game. Do I want more 2-drops enough to take Doom Dissenter over Diregraph Scavenger? This card is just so good. Life Drain, a Death Toucher. Death Touch is really good with Wolf Strike as well. That makes Wolf Strike kill anything. Yeah, with like Wolf Strike in the color pair, I'm going to take Scavenger here over Doom Dissenter for sure. Could take a third Flourishing Hunter, an Undying Malice, a Massive Might. I think I'm going to take a third Flourishing Hunter with 3 Weaver Blossoms. We are playing the late game with this deck. Just to ramp some big stuff out. We could even take Nature's Embrace to try to ramp stuff out, but technically Nature's Embrace, it's like a Weaver Blossoms that isn't a creature. It's a Weaver Blossoms you just throw onto your land, so it's definitely worse than the triple Weaver. So it would get cut pretty likely. I guess we could play Mulch. Like, Self-Mill is not going to be that bad in this color pair. We do have 1 Blood Fountain, 1 Diregraph Scavenger that care about us having cards in our grave. Could also take Sheltering Boughs. I mean, it replaces itself, it's card draw, it's whatever. You do really get got, though, if you try to cast this on something and they kill whatever creature you're targeting before it resolves, because then your creature dies, the Sheltering Boughs dies, and you don't draw the card. Yeah, not super high on that. I guess I'll just grab a Mulch here. Vampire's Kiss is an option too, just to get 2 blood tokens, but it's essentially discard 3 to draw 2, because you have to discard Vampire's Kiss. The life drain is very insignificant. Yeah, I'm just going to take Mulch. Not super happy on it, probably cutting it, but I've got to take something here. Is Doom Dissenter or Mind Leech Ghoul better for us? Do I want a 2-mana 2/2 straight up, or a 2-mana 1/1 that turns into a 2/2 later? I think I want Doom Dissenter. I think we're really playing the late game in this deck, so I'd rather have creatures that can just chump block more. Like this chump blocks twice, this chump blocks once. If I was trying to like kill my opponent on curve by curving out good creatures, I'd prefer Mind Leech Ghoul, because then just immediately play it out, have the 2 power, whereas this just starts stacking as a 1/1. Yeah, I think I'm taking Doom Dissenter here, because I prefer blocking than attacking. Snarling Wolf is not bad either, but definitely better for trying to be aggressive in the early game, and I think I'm not trying to. I think I'm just trying to ram into big drops, big late game dorks, have the biggest creatures on the board later in the game. Another Mulch, I guess. We're definitely cutting at least one of those. And we'll see what we get in our final pack. Fingers crossed we open something cool for green or black here. Another blue mythic rare. Sad times. Sad times all around. And not even a particularly good pack for us. There's like a Wolfkin Outcast, but I think Flourishing Hunter's just better, because it's just always a 6/6. I guess this is cheaper if you control a wolf or a werewolf. We have 3 3-mana werewolves, but that's kind of it for making this cheaper. We've got 1 5-mana werewolf. I don't think we're werewolf tribal enough for this to be great. That being said, we're just taking it over another Doomed Dissenter or a Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter would maybe be the pick. I guess we only have 3 2-mana cards. Maybe Doomed Dissenter. Yeah, we're not taking this over too much in terms of other good cards, so I think I'll take Wolfkin Outcast. We do have a Doom Dissenter to work with Rottide Gargantua, but not a lot that makes the exploit good. It's also just a 5-mana 5/4, which isn't terrible, so that is an option on the table as well, but I guess I'll try out the Wolfkin Outcast. We'll see if we get it to do its thing now and then. Maybe we are moving more into Wolf Tribal now. We see a Pack Song Pup here. Try to have all our green creatures be wolves. I mean, we have 3 werewolves on turn 3, a werewolf on turn 5, and 4 6-mana werewolves, or 6-mana wolves at least. And wolves or werewolves trigger the Pack Song Pup. If you play a Pack Song Pup turn 2 and a Weaver Blossoms turn 3, this has to be dealt with pretty quickly. Magical Christmas Land is you play the 1-mana Snarling Wolf turn 1 and then this on turn 2, so it just immediately starts getting counters. It is really good if you can trigger it. It's just hard to trigger. I think I'm going to take it here. I could be wrong, because Persistent Specimen is going to be good if we do end up playing the Mulches. We might mill a Specimen. It's also an infinite chump blocker, and it's good with Exploit. So Specimen's not terrible here, and Spore Caller is just a good card, period. So just a good filler card. I think I'm going Pack Song Pup. Let's get wild with it. Since we just took Wolfkin Outcast, I guess we're trying to howl at the moon here with a bunch of wolves. I don't really think I can take another Flourishing Hunter over Hero's Downfall, because this is such a cheap, unconditional removal spell. It's a super good deal here. We only have 2 straight-up removal spells and 1 combat trick. I'll take a 3rd removal spell over a 4th Flourishing Hunter. Then we have a lot at 6 mana, even with Triple Weaver, so we'll take Hero's Downfall here. Okay, so now we have Apprentice, Sharpshooter, or Doomed Dissenter. 4 2-mana cards. Hoping to get some Snarling Wolves here. At 1 mana to make Pack Song Pup really shine. And more 1-mana cards. 1 and 2-mana cards I kind of treat similarly on the curve. I want to have like 5 to 7 1 or 2-mana cards most of the time. So I think I'll take a Sharpshooter over Dissenter here. Another Hero's Downfall is excellent. Oh wow, this pack is so good. Oh no. Yeah, this is the kind of pack I want to take the whole thing. Another Hero's Downfall is just excellent removal. Undead Butler's super good at bringing stuff back from the grave. Great 2-drop to play in a defensive deck, because you just play this Trump block with it, get something back to your hand. Great value. Another Weaver Blossoms makes casting these 6-drops even more manageable. Bloodcrazed Socialite just hits like a semi-truck. Yeah, this is an excellent pack, but I think I'm just taking another Hero's Downfall. Like, these cheap instant speed removal spells really help us also survive to the late game, which I think is what we're trying to do with these big drops. As much as I love a 4th Weaver, so we're just super consistently slamming in the Hunters. And they also help with the pup, but no, Hero's Downfall is just so good. I'm going to take it there. Now we'll take like a Mind Leech Ghoul. I'm not going to play Nature's Embrace or Honored Heirloom here. Well, there's a big booty card. Kind of the green-black strategy or archetype is a bunch of stuff with high toughness. How many cards do we have with higher toughness than power? Not a ton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 of them. Probably not enough to consistently trigger this, but this is still a 3-mana 1/5 at worst. I think I'm still higher on the Diregraph Scavenger than that, though. Alright, now we can take the Specimen, I guess. It does work with the Mind Leech Ghoul we've picked up. Potentially works with Mulches if we end up running those. Could discard it to a Blood Token, which is fine. I'll take a Specimen. I think we only have 1 Blood Token in the deck, though, just the Blood Fountain. Another Apprentice Sharpshooter, I suppose. I mean, Wedding Invitation isn't the worst thing ever. You do draw a card immediately when you play it, so basically 2 mana you cycle it and just draw your next card. And then late game, if the board gets stalled, especially in like green-black, you can just make sure you hit your opponent for 6. Just like, bam, Flourishing Hunter's unblockable, I'll hit you for 6. We'll end the game there. Does not seem bad, actually. Maybe it's Invitation over Sharpshooter, I don't know. Both of these are good. Both of these are good for us here. I'm going to take another Sharpshooter, though. Now I'll take an Undying Malice. I'm definitely not playing 3 Mulches. I'm already not sure I'm playing the first 2. Wow, nice late Ruhr Recruit. That being said, we're not really the color pair for it. It's not going to be great here. 4 power and 2 toughness for 4 mana, but it is split amongst 2 cards, and it can train itself up into even more power and toughness over time. Alright. What do we want to do here? Get to cut 8 cards? I'm not feeling the Mulches. That's for sure. Love this removal, though. Love this removal. We might keep it to just straight up removal. We probably don't even really need a combat trick. I kind of just like that for the non-creature suite. Because, like, we don't really need combat tricks if we're a deck that's trying to make sure we have the biggest creature on the board, because then our creatures just automatically win the fight by being big. Plus with a bunch of removal as well to clear out the creatures that we need to kill. And then we have a Blood Fountain to bring back the big creatures. Love that. I really love these as the non-creature suite. Maybe we do put Witch's Web back in, but I don't think we really want Undying Malice, but that might be okay. Yeah, Undying Malice or Witch's Web would both be fine here, but I think everything else I'm cool with the cut. Did not really get to do the Blood Token thing. I don't think Recruits work particularly great here. I'm going to go ahead and cut them. 2 more cards to cut. Paxson Pup did not manage to go off, did it? 5 werewolves and 4 wolves. So 5 werewolves and 3 other wolves. So 8 cards to trigger the pup. Worst case scenario, this is a 2-mana 1/1 that just chump blocks and gains us 1 life. That's kind of a bad worst case scenario. It is also another wolf to help cast Wolfkin Outcast for cheaper. I don't know here. I think I'm going to cut 1 Sharpshooter, 1 creature now. Maybe the pup. Maybe one of these Disciples. I mean, these are just basically 2-mana 2/2s. I mean, every 3-drop that we have is a human, so if we curve turn 2 creature, turn 3 creature, we are attacking for 3 with this, but it's just the one time buff. There's only 1 other human in the deck. That's the 5-mana one after this. I guess we do have a 2-mana human as well, Doom Dissenter. Mind Leech Ghoul looks like it's only really good with the Doom Dissenter and the Persistent Specimen, otherwise just a 2-mana 2/2. We might even be cutting the Persistent Specimen because we don't really have combos for it. We're not sacrificing it to anything. We're not milling it to anything. We're not even discarding it to a blood token because we only have 1 blood token in the whole deck. Wedding Security doesn't look great here, but I don't want to cut any of our high mana cost cards with 3 Weaver Blossom. I want to leave as much late game impact as possible, even if this is just a 5 mana 4/4. Like, I'll take it. I think we cut a cheap card here. Might be a dumb decision here, but I think I'm going to leave the Pack Song Pup in. I want to live the dream. It's going to be a rarity in this deck, but I do want to live the dream. I do like the idea of just chump blocking with a specimen over and over for this deck, but I don't know. We have like so much, we have a good amount of removal and good creatures in the mid-range of the curve. Preferably we're not in a position where we need to sit there chump blocking forever. Yeah, but again, we're also not that aggro, so we don't really need a million 2-mana 2/2s. I'll cut one of the Dawnheart Disciples, just because we have 2 of them, so we'll still have 1 to play around with. Yeah. This looks to be the deck to me. The rhyme was unintentional, but I suppose I'll take it. Golgar Ryman. I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me to name a deck again. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. See how things go as we head into round 1. So my apologies if you can tell if it's coming through on the mic. I am pretty sick right now, so I might sound a little extra nasally or gravelly. So my apologies for that. We did it. We lived the Pack Song Pup dream here. If it isn't immediately killed, we do play it and then play a 3-mana werewolf. And this is also just kind of the dream curve as well. The only issue is the lack of black mana, which is actually even worse with a double black card in hand, the Hero's Downfall, but I'm still all in on this hand. Even if we don't have Downfall, we could pretend we mulligan to 6 and then threw this on bottom, and I'm still happy with the hand. So we are unfortunately going to be on the draw, not on the play, so if our opponent's an aggressive strategy, that is the kind of thing that can really punish our deck. And they're off to an aggressive curve. Just a 1-power creature on turn 2, though, is not bad. Okay, nice. Our opponent decides to just gain life instead of hitting us for 1. I'd be more scared if they just immediately went for the smack for 1. Basically, when you have a Minister out on turn 2, you have to decide what's more important, buffing my life total or reducing my opponent's. And that kind of choice is basically, how aggressive am I? Am I definitely the aggressor? Then I want to hit the opponent for 1. Am I probably the defender? Then I want to gain the 1. So the fact that they just chose to gain the 1 there makes me a little more confident, because it means that they weren't planning on being the super aggressive deck there. Or they just don't factor that into the decision making with Minister as much as I do. Alright, so we have the Weaver Blossoms Pack Song Pup out now. So just like a blue-white enchantments deck here. A lot of what the color pair does, so fair enough. Probably going to try to Hero's Downfall that Dawnheart Geist in the future, but for now we'll just play an Infestation Expert. Ooh, especially because it's nighttime. So this will come out and be really good if it doesn't get countered. They have 4 mana up here for an instant. It could very well be countered. Maybe I just play a Wedding Security for that reason. They're going to have to cast 2 spells in 1 turn if they want to flip it back to day. So it should still be nighttime by my next turn. Let's try to cast a Wedding Security. If this gets countered, we're happy, because we don't have blood tokens in the deck. It's a card that looks scarier than it is in our deck. Awesome. So we've drawn the counter spell out to the 4/4 there. It is still a 4/4. I should have attacked there. That was dumb. I should have attacked because the Dawnheart guys will be attacking as a 3/3, and I'm not going to want to take the trade. So I wasn't going to block anyway. But it's only blocking as a 2/3, so it wouldn't block well. Ooh, Diregraph Scavenger is nice. Alright, so they have 2 mana up. That can't be a counterspell unless it's Syncopate, and I have the mana to counter the Syncopate. I just spend 1. So let's get this Infestation Expert out here. And then I still have mana for Doom Dissenter afterwards. I probably don't want to, because I don't want to flip things to daytime, which I will do if I cast 2 spells here, but I'm leaving that up as an option if they like removal spell during combat here, and I don't have my Infested Werewolf anymore. I think I'm still not attacking with the pup. I'm just going to pass turn now. Again, not casting the center because I'll flip that werewolf, make it a lot worse. Oh, I really like the Diregraph Scavenger in this matchup because now we get to attack in. They're probably going to chump block with a Disturb creature because they know they can bring it back. And then we'll just exile it so they can't bring it back. That should be a pretty good deal. If we can permanently exile the Brine Comber or the Spectral Binding. The Binding Geist is the front half of the card. I forgot the name of it because it's all covered up. Just wanted to show both cards on screen for a bit there for you all. Alright, so now we get to attack in pretty freely because we have Hero's Downfall to use as a combat trick if something goes wrong. They can only double block to kill one of these, and we can kill one of the creatures on whichever double block they go for. To make sure this is very good, I probably should have attacked with the Blossom-clad Werewolf as well, because I do not need its mana anymore, so I should just be using it to push more damage through. They're just going for chump blocks here. Ooh, double block, triple block? No. They're thinking it through again, changing their thoughts here. Maybe no blocks here, just take 9. We are at 11, so they might try to just get aggressive into us. Diregraph Scavenger is going to help a lot in that situation to gain us a little bit of life there and get a Death Toucher onto the board. So if that's their plan there, we've got a good backup plan against that. And we'll still be holding Hero's Downfall for an instant speed removal spell if they attack us too aggressively. Okay, they are going to triple block the Blossom-clad Werewolf. And that is 6 power, so it is enough to kill the Werewolf unless we crack our Hero's Downfall here to kill one of these, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll see if this works out. I am hoping it does. But they could have the Adamant Will at instant speed for +2/+2 indestructible. Cradle of Safety works as well, but we still get to kill that one creature at least. But yeah, that didn't work out perfectly for us, but it's not the end of the world. So our creatures come to play tapped now because of the Radiant Restraints. I ordered that block wrong. I should have ordered it better in case they did have Adamant Will or Cradle of Safety. I should put the Geist at the end, because I think that was the least important creature to kill. I would have really liked to kill their cards with Disturb because I'm planning on casting Diregraph Scavenger here. Do we even just not cast Scavenger because we can't get rid of a Disturb card? Maybe. I'll also be double spelling here, but I don't have my big old 4/5 anymore, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't really want a Diregraph Scavenger here. Uh-oh, Voice of the Blessed with a Traveling Minister on board. Voice of the Blessed is going to go places this game if we don't draw our other removal, such as Bleed Dry, Downfall 2, or Wolf Strike. All of those would work because we do have a Death Toucher here. So those are our outs here that we are hoping for. Can keep attacking with Paxson Pup. It'll be a 6/6 here, and they have no cards in hand. They would have to kill their Voice of the Blessed. They'd have to double block here. So I think we are still attacking with that. Maybe they chump block with a Disturbed creature here. They do, so now we do get the full Diregraph Scavenger value, as well as having a Death Toucher on the board to block their Voice of the Blessed. Now, Voice of the Blessed does get Flying and Vigilance in the future. So it's not attacking yet, but in the future it will still be attacking us. Yeah, at 4 or more counters, it'll be a 6/6 Flying Vigilance. Yeah, so we need to hit removal by then, or we're going to really get demolished by that. No attacks with the Fire here is interesting. Scattered Thoughts from our opponent, digging 4 cards deep, putting 2 in the hand and 2 into grave. Panicked Bystander is the play. Pretty terrifying with the Voice of the Blessed. That is some more life gain to make it bigger even faster. We have one chump block now thanks to Apprentice Sharpshooter. I think we're still just attacking with Pack Song Pup. But they've got a lot of chump blockers thanks to Brine Comber. Chump block now, recast it, chump block next turn, chump block with this. We attack with the Death Toucher too. How do they kill this? They double block it with Bystander and Brine Comber. Not horrible for us. We're already not scared of Voice of the Blessed until it has flying, and Scavenger isn't going to help against its flying anyway. There's literally nothing else we need to block the Scavenger, so actually I think I get just really aggressive here, so they still have a chance even if they... Even if they do trigger Voice of the Blessed. Do I attack with all the 1/1s though? I lose 2 of them for nothing? No, not yet. Once this Bystander at least gets off the board, I think I attack with all the 1/1s. Because then I only lose 1 each time I attack. The rest get some damage in. Alright, so they gain that Bystander life, unfortunately, which means Voice of the Blessed will be flying now. I don't know, maybe it was even better not to attack, just to give us another turn to draw removal against Voice of the Blessed. Yeah, I guess it's going to be really, really hard to find lethal against them here with the amount of life gain they have. Blood Fountain. Picks up Wedding Security Infestation Expert, gives us a blood token. I mean, yeah, we need to draw removal for Voice of the Blessed, or we are dead to a removal spell from our opponent. So let's see what we draw here. Another Weaver Blossoms. Alright, well, chump block Voice of the Blessed, pick up our reach creature. That's the plan now. Don't even cast this Weaver so that we keep at nighttime and have a bunch of mana still. We're already dead on board to Voice of the Blessed. It doesn't matter if they gain more life to Bystander, so whatever, throw the Scavenger into. Alright. I gotta say, I'm happy I left Pack Song Pup in, because without a Pack Song Pup, we'd have nothing at this point. And Pack Song Pup is such a huge threat here. Unfortunately, they have a million chump blockers. Oh, our creatures all come into play tapped because of the Radiant restraints. So it actually doesn't even matter if we pick up the Reach creature here. The only thing that we need is removal. Reach creature doesn't even save us. But I'll pick it up anyway. We draw the Mind Leech Ghoul. No way to block the Voice of the Blessed. We are dead on board here. That's going to be game. Couple misplays there that could have given us another turn or two. The biggest misplay, I think, was how we stacked damage on the how we stacked the damage with the werewolf. Had we stacked the damage differently, we would have killed 2 of our creatures, which would have been easier to break through with our board state being bigger than theirs. Maybe actually get some damage in there. Other than that, by still attacking in, we did trigger the Bystander to have their Flying Vigilance creature hit us 1 turn earlier. That was definitely a misplay. I don't think it was as big of a misplay as the way we stacked the damage, though, because that was a misplay that you could very much calculate exactly how much it mattered, and it mattered 1 turn. So we would have seen 1 more card draw had we not attacked and triggered their Voice of the Blessed a turn early, because it would have been flying 1 turn later than it ended up being flying. I think. Maybe I did the math wrong and it wouldn't have mattered because of Traveling Minister. But I think we gave the Voice of the Blessed flying a turn early by accident, which corresponds to 1 less opportunity to draw removal. But definitely some misplays there. Maybe we could have found the win. I don't know. Definitely a hard match once that Voice of the Blessed came out. So here we are in round 2 against a blue-black deck, starting with a Restless Bloodseeker. If they gain some life, they'll spit out some blood. Sounds absolutely disgusting when I say it like that. Thirst for Discovery, turn 3, just main phase, so I guess no creatures to dump out here, so gotta draw into the cards that they need. So we do have 5 mana here, so we can just dump out Wedding Security. Do I like that better than playing a Weaver? We can play a Weaver and a Specimen alternatively, so we know we're dumping out Flourishing Hunter next turn, but I kind of like just ramping out a big, scary creature immediately. Yeah, and then if we draw land next turn, we get to play Hunter, and worst case scenario, we can still just flood the board with more creatures next turn. I guess the biggest argument towards Weaver is we do get an attack and Disciple that way, but dumping the Wedding Security, this card's very likely to draw removal because it looks very scary, and we're fine with it drawing removal because we don't actually have the blood to go around. So luckily for us, we did draw the 5th land, turn 6, to play the Flourishing Hunter as well, and the Bleed Dry from our opponent on the Wedding Security means Flourishing Hunter still around, and they pass turn, so it's just nighttime here, probably going for instant speed removal on the Hunter. Alright, attack in with these two, then play an Infestation Expert, which will be the Infested Werewolf, which will be very good here. The 4/5 with 2 1/1s. Once again, just showing off how good it is to have the have it be nighttime when you cast your Expert. That being said, they could just have a counterspell here, because they do still have 3 up. Yep. Really unfortunate. This is a good matchup for our opponent, because they had the specifically 2 mana to bounce a wolf or werewolf. If they had to spend the 4 mana on this, they couldn't have held up the counterspell afterwards. They would have had 1 blue, not a blue and X. So definitely get got by the tribal hate that our opponent had there. So unfortunate. Sad day for the Infested Werewolf, but Flourishing Hunter should come back now. They got, what, 2 mana up here? They could syncopate for 1. We have the 1 mana to spend, so we'll play another just in case. Alright. You play our Specimen here, that would be double spelling. Our Werewolf would be a 2/3 instead of a 3/4. I don't think so, we'd probably attack with this. They could double block it, but we kill their 3/3 Menace that way. We don't need the mana from this anymore. This is just a straight up 3/4 for us. So trade a 3/4 into a 3/3 Menace. I'll take that trade. Yep, take that trade all day long. So crack the blood, discard a land, and draw a card. They have 4 cards in hand still. And a Grisly Ritual to kill the 6/6 and get a couple blood tokens. Opponent is definitely getting the good control here going. That flips the Bloodseeker as well. So now it is a 3/3 and they can spend 5 to drain life from us. Ooh, Dormant Grove is a great draw while they're tapped out. So we can get this out, start getting +1/+1 counters on our cards. Seems excellent to me. Definitely do that while they're tapped out. Now we play our Specimen and start shoving counters on our stuff. I'd rather shove counters on Disciple than Specimen, because Specimen, I kind of want to leave it as expendable as possible. Just keep it as that small body. Mind Leech Ghoul from our opponent. They're going to make us exile our Weaver Blossoms. Alright, that's not the worst deal ever. Their 2/2 kills are 2/3. I guess our 3-4, because it's likely to be nighttime this late in the game. But it's not like we were holding some bomb 7-mana card or anything. My apologies for the drink noises. Gotta make sure my throat does not explode. Grab my water instead. Well, Hero's Downfall is nice. Do we just clear the board and attack for 5? Probably so. I mean, Witness the Future, the odds of them having a better creature than this, they're not super high, because this is like way better than just a 3-3. This is a 3-3 with a really good mana sink in the position that they're in, because it gains them life every turn. I mean, I guess I hit for 1 more damage if I downfall and then attack, whereas I still hit for 4 here if I just attack. Maybe we don't need to downfall here, because we're just kind of attacking with a 4-4. Attacking with a creature bigger than that. We're at 27. Them hitting us for 2 is not that bad. Them gaining 2 is still kind of rough, but... Alright, Grisly Ritual on the Disciple. Definitely annoying. I guess we are going to start throwing a bunch of counters onto the Specimen. Yeah, because I'm just going to kill the Reveler now, if that's their only creature. So we can keep hitting them. At this point. Oh my god, Blood Fountain is such a good draw here. It's actually incredible. We'll only have 1 mana left after using it, so there's no reason to do it pre-combat. Try to play anything wild here. We'll just do it main phase 2 and then crack it during their end step. But wow, Blood Fountain off the top was huge here. Gluttonous Guest. Gluttonous Guest is very good for our opponent here. They have 3 blood tokens out now, and they gain 1 life every time they use one, as well as having a 1-4 blocker that'll block the 3-3 Specimen next turn. Alright, end step here. Let's get some creatures back. Oh, and they syncopated the Infested Werewolf, so we can't get the Infested Werewolf back. Yeah, we'll just take Weaver and Hunter then. I was actually kind of excited to get the Infested Werewolf back, and then I realized, wait a sec, it was syncopated. There's so much just exile removal at common, such as Bleed Dry, that we just drew into. 4 mana up here. Could absolutely counter something, but they know exactly what we have. So if they're holding on to a counterspell to hit the Hunter, they can just hold on to it when we cast Weaver. Like then they'll just not counter Weaver. They know exactly what we have, so there's no reason to try to bait a counterspell. I think we just Flourishing Hunter here. But we'll do it main phase 2 so we gain 1 more life, because Specimen will have 1 more toughness. Okay, so no counterspell from them. Do they have removal then? If they have neither, we're in a very good spot, because we can even flip the Dormant Grove here. Okay, well, removal again. Grisly Ritual number 3? No, Grisly Ritual number 2. Ooh, I'm starting to feel like I'm about to cough everywhere. I need to drink a lot here, so there will be a bit of silence. Well, that is a fantastic draw. We have drawn another Flourishing Hunter. And of course, Specimen's attacking as a 4-4 now, so it does get in past the Guest, which is excellent. Here's a Flourishing Hunter while they're tapped out. Another Bleed Dry from our opponent on the Flourishing Hunter, but we're about to attack with a 5-5 Persistent Specimen next turn. They're at 7 life. 8 life now from cracking a Blood. Dormant Grove really putting in work, even though it's never flipped into a 3-6 Vigilance. Just all these +1/+1 counters have been real important. They have 2 power, absolutely still attacking with Specimen. There's a chump block from our opponent. I'd rather play the Scavenger than the Weaver, because this can attack in with Death Touch, even against like a 1/4 blocker from our opponent. It's their best creature in Grave. A Bloodcrazed Socialite probably, maybe Restless Bloodseeker, maybe Skull Scab. Some decent creatures. I'm just going to take the Socialite. Screaming Swarm from our opponent. Good thing we still have this Bleed Dry, because that is going to get bled here. And we'll have not quite lethal, but very close, because we can flip our Dormant Grove this turn and attack for... they block there, but then they take 5 from these two. So we're going to go ahead and bleed the Swarm to attack our opponent down to 1 life here. Not play this land. We'll, well, actually probably rather play the land and play Weaver than crack the blood. Our good old 6/6 Persistent Specimen really getting in there here. Opponent cracks their blood here, discarding a Socialite to draw a card. They're down to 1 now. I am going to play the land and play the Weaver. Gluttonous Guest. They gain 1 life, block 1 creature, and they scoop them up here. That is going to be too much. So we know we Doom Dissenter turn 2. We really need the 3rd mana, but if we hit it, we have Weaver Blossoms. We can cast everything but Scavenger. Right? Yeah, I mean, if we hit it, we can cast everything, including Scavenger, because Weaver will be on board unless they just shoot it immediately. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. Ooh, Pack Song Pup. I could go all in here and just play the Pup, hoping to play Weaver next turn, but they're also red, so they could have like a Flame Bolt or something to just shoot it for 2, so I'm just going to play Dissenter first. Be less sad if Dissenter gets abraded than if Pack Song Pup does. Alright, now I guess we play Pack Song Pup. Since we don't have the 3rd mana anyway. Three mana from our black-red opponents, and a Desperate Farmer is the play. 2/2 lifelinker there. There is the 3rd mana. Perfect. We'll play Weaver Blossoms pre-combat. That'll buff the Pup to a 2/2 status, and we'll pass the turn. Not going to trade off the Pup here when we know it'll be a 3/3 next turn, big enough to attack into the Farmer. Interesting. They're going to send in with the Farmer here. This is going to be some kind of trick. I'm going to not block here. All of our creatures are pretty important. Our Dissenter isn't that important, but... it does chump block more damage later. So unfortunately a Vampire's Vengeance from our opponent to wipe the board. That's not that bad. It basically just killed our Pup. Killed our Dissenter, sure, but we get the 2/2 zombie out of it. That all worked out pretty well. Now we can just Scavenger, exile their Farmer from their grave. Yeah, seems not bad to me. The board is all clear for us to just start getting in with these admittedly small creatures, a bunch of 2-power creatures, but when you've got 3 of them out, that's still 6 damage a turn. Let's see, turn 5 Blood Hypnotist, that can't block, that can stay all day long. Definitely not using removal there, not using removal on Ragged Recluse either, it's just a 2/1. We can make our 2/2 a 3/3 with our Dormant Grove so that we can just keep the pressure on, keep attacking in here. Dormant Grove, an excellent draw here. Yeah, slam in with everybody. They have no good blocks. They do take the chump block here so that they only go down to 11 instead of 8, but it is looking like a rough spot for our opponent. Fellstinger's a good draw. They can sack the Hypnotist because it can't block anyway to draw a couple cards here. They do have to lose 2 life to do so, but when they need to dig for some cheap creatures, it's definitely worth it. And a Headless Rider, ooh, wow, I would love to exile that if we had like Bleed Dry. Unfortunately we don't, so Headless Rider's going to go off here. I don't believe Fellstinger's a zombie. It is, it's a zombie Scorpion. Uh-oh, so both of these spit out a 2/2 when they die. So we attack in, they trade things off and get 2 2/2s. Alright, well, Dormant Grove, I think we're going to make this a 4/4, so they have to double block. I guess they still get to just block with Fellstinger. Wow, yeah, this is pretty bad. They're still at 9. They're still going to take a lot. Yeah, I guess we just still attack with everybody, let them get their 2/2s here. Do we, though? We could Hero's Downfall Headless Rider, then they have a 3/2 and a 2/2, and they won't get another one. Could Hero's Downfall Fellstinger, and then they have a 3/1 and a 2/2. They'd have to double block to kill a 4/4. That kind of does seem okay to me. But also we could just play 2 more creatures. So these creatures don't matter that much. They are kind of expendable. Alright, I think they're just going to trade off here if we attack with everybody. I actually kind of like just going wide here. So maybe we can just kill them past the Headless Rider without having to worry about all the 2/2 zombies coming out. Blood Tithe Harvester they can use as a removal spell. For double -X/-X, where X is the blood they have. Pretty good impulse from our opponent, draws them a land and Alluring Suitor, so another blocker. Diregraph Scavenger is a sick draw. Okay. So kind of like, I don't love losing Weaver Blossoms because we do have a Flourishing Hunter in hand, but I do like getting aggressive with Diregraph Scavenger in hand. So I kind of like turning it into a 3/4, so we can attack with a couple 3/4s. They only kill one with the Death Toucher they have. Attack with Sharpshooter as well, as a 2/5. I think I just slam in with everybody, honestly. If something super bad happens, we can Hero's Downfall. But I think everything should work pretty fine here. They take 5. Not quite lethal, but with Diregraph Scavenger, it's insanely close. And we can accept these trades. Sure, Suitor just kills Specimen, but Specimen's real expendable. They get a couple 2/2s. Now, would I rather bring our Persistent Specimen back, or play the Diregraph Scavenger, or play the Hero's Downfall? I kind of like saving Diregraph Scavenger to maybe surprise kill them. It's kind of like just holding up Hero's Downfall or Persistent Specimen. Plus, we do flip the Blossom-Clad Werewolf to a 5 toughness creature. So both our creatures are 5 toughness, which is too big for Blood Tithe Harvester to kill. It does -4/-4 right now. Well, it will do -6/-6 if that resolves. So I have to kill Harvester right now if I want these to stay on board. So I think I will. It's a sorcery speed effect, right? Yeah, it's sorcery speed effect, so they can't do it in response. I would have really... Well, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be that bad if it wasn't sorcery speed, because it's not like they would just give one of these -4/-4 and still be on board. But yeah. So yeah, with 2 5 toughness creatures, we're guaranteed to flip Dormant Grove unless they have instant speed removal. Whichever one we put a counter on is going to be 6 toughness. So we attack with everybody here. It looks like they're going to try to get aggressive, try to outrace us, which should not guarantee us the game because they're gaining life from all the blood tokens. But it should be good for us. Oh, I guess that's not... Oh, that was a punt. Totally forgot Weaver Blossoms wasn't technically 5 toughness anymore because it's not nighttime. I just instinctually put the counter there because I'm like, don't put the counter on the one with training. I should have absolutely put the counter on the one with training. Then it'd be attacking with a 3/6, a 3/4, and a 3/6. Yeah, I 100% should have done that. That was super wrong by me. Instead, I think we downfall the Dancer, but we can again pass turn so it flips again. Yeah, and then they just have a 2-2 and a 1-4. Yeah, and we'll do that before they draw, I think. So if they want to buff their field to get another attack in, they have to do it right now, so I doubt they will. Yeah, they didn't do it. Wow. My apologies for that. Been holding that in for an hour. It made its way out at exactly the hour mark. Ooh, super sorry about that. Alright, so now, I mean, again, I'm not going to put a counter on the training one because it'll keep getting counters anyway. But now we have the good attack here. Ooh, they let the Gluttonous Guest die before they... Oh yeah, they don't have any cards to correct the blood. So I guess either way, it doesn't matter. Scavenger gets in. So our opponent has one of the sad days where they go to 2 and get Diregraph Scavengered. Always a big feel bad. Alright, well here we are. In round question mark. It's a pretty good hand. Turn 1 Specimen into turn 2 Ghoul is always a fun time. Opponent is on the play. If they're aggressive, we can get demolished because their deck is pretty slow, especially this hand, a couple 6-drops here. It is possible to play this turn 4 instead if we draw a wolf or werewolf by then. Well, we did draw a wolf. I meant a wolf that costs less than 6, but that is still a good draw. I mean, now we really have the late game set up. And yeah, the Specimen Ghoul combo is pretty good here because we don't have a turn 3 play anyway, so we can just spend turn 3 getting the Specimen back. Opponent discards a Radiant Grace, just an aura since they didn't have any creatures put it on anyway. Fair discard from our opponent. Now we have a Scavenger for turn 4. I'm almost higher on Blood Fountain discard a Hunter than I am on bringing back Specimen here because we really need to hit lands. So I think we're okay to just discard one of these several 6-mana cards to try to get a land. And I kind of like the Outcast a little better than the Hunters. It's probably wrong. Just a straight up 6/6 probably better than the Outcast. But I do really like the Outcast during the night. You know, drawing a card when it dies is super good. I don't know here. I mean, it doesn't matter too much unless our opponent exiles our graveyard, because we can get them back with Blood Fountain, and that is certainly going to be the plan later in the game. I think I'm getting rid of the Outcast, though. Because well, yeah, I mean, that's true. The other thing to consider is if we draw like a pup or something, some kind of cheap wolf, we can cast the Outcast early, but we can't with the Hunters. Hard choice. I'm going to get rid of the Hunter. We do draw Weaver Blossoms even if we don't hit a land there, so that is still helpful for casting them. It's especially helpful at casting Wolfkin Outcast, thanks to reducing its cost. Unfortunately, our opponent is going to go off with Markov Purifier, because we can't block it well, so they just get to attack and gain the 2 draw card here. Alright, cool. We did hit a land as well, which is excellent. Don't want a Diregraph Scavenger, so I just have good blockers for Purifier. I already have decent blockers with just Weaver, Ghoul for double block, and that really helps me cast things next turn, so I'm going to go with the Weaver here. And I think I'm not attacking, that way I can hold up a double block against Purifier if they don't use a removal spell. That being said, if they do use a removal spell, it will probably be on our Mana Dork, and that would be very bad for us. So hopefully they don't just like bleed dry the Weaver. Of course they play a Plains for the turn, which means no double black for our opponent. Aim for the head. Exile 2 cards from our hand. That is infuriating. I guess we keep the Outcast because it could draw us into more stuff. And we know we get to cast it next turn. We don't know that we get to cast the the Flourishing Hunter. We know we could cast Diregraph Scavenger, but I just think the card that maybe draws us cards is going to be better. Drawing a card whenever our wolves die, if it's nighttime. Alright, Blood Fountain's going to have to put in some work here. Our opponent has gotten some card advantage and put us at some card disadvantage. They drew an extra card off Purifier and made us exile 2 cards with aim for the head. There's Resistance Squad to draw a card. Yeah, opponent drawing a lot of cards. Do like Swamp with Hero's Downfall. So we don't have to tap the Weaver anymore. We can just pass turn, flip it to Knight. That seems good to me. Good as anything. We could even crack the Blood Fountain. Bring back a Specimen to hand and a Hunter. Bring back a Specimen to hand is weird, but bring back Flourishing Hunter is certainly good. I don't think I want to crack the Fountain until more stuff dies, though, because I really don't want to bring Specimen back to hand. So we'll hold on. We can Hero's Downfall something, or we can bring our Persistent Specimen back to the board if we don't need to Hero's Downfall something. And next turn we get to pretty freely attack with Wedding Crasher, because even if it dies and trades off with something, we draw a card off of it, and then we pick it up with Blood Fountain alongside a Flourishing Hunter. That sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good to me. Alright, well, I feel really good about any blocks I make here, because whatever nonsense they're planning on, I have a Hero's Downfall. Oh, they're going to Wrath the board? I draw 2 cards off Wedding Crasher if they Wrath the board, right? I think I do. Not sure. I'm really fine with a Wrath, because we can just Blood Fountain stuff back. Especially if I draw 2 cards, then I'm incredibly cool with Wrath. Let's see. Do I draw 2 cards off of Crasher? Yes, alright. That was not a bad Wrath at all for me. Grab our 6 drops. If we don't hit the 6th mana, we'll just play the 2 drops. Alright, or Wedding Security. 2/2 and a 1/1, or the big ol' 4/4. I'll go with the big ol' 4/4. I am incredibly glad that I flipped tonight there so that I got to draw the cards off the Outcast. That Wrath could have been a lot worse for us. Voice of the Blessed. That is going to get killed. That thing demolished us round 1. Especially when our opponent's got another Markov Purifier. That thing could be real scary. Yeah, we're going to kill the Voice of the Blessed. As much as I'd love to kill Markov Purifier, but we got to kill the Voice. And then I guess we're not attacking because I, again, don't want them to just like gain life and draw a card. So I could pass turn if I really want to flip it to Knight. I could also just play a 6/6 and then like we have time to kill Voice of the Blessed. This thing isn't indestructible for like a century. Yeah, it's not indestructible till they have 10 counters on it. Yeah, no, we'll dump all our mana into Flourishing Hunter here, I guess. That'll make Outcast cheaper next turn, so if we hit another land, we can play Outcast and hold up Downfall. Alright. Fell Stinger coming out, drawing more cards for our opponent. We hit the land to go Outcast Hero's Downfall. Seems pretty great. Could even just Downfall the Fell Stinger to attack with Flourishing Hunter, but then I don't have the removal for Voice of the Blessed if that becomes a problem. So I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I even want to attack with Hunter unless it's nighttime also. But now that I have a 6/6 and a 5/4, I think I do want to attack with the 4/4, because if this kills any of those, then that's cool to me. We can make sure it kills 2 of those as well, because even if they double block with these 2, we can Hero's Downfall. They are going to go for the double block with those 2. I think I am going to Downfall then. kill them both and keep the security out. First walled Shield Basher. And they pass the turn. 8 mana here. Attack all seems fine, but we lose Wolfkin Outcast to the 4-2. Losing Hunter to the 3-2 is also not great. I think I, again, don't want to attack with Wolves till it's nighttime, so I would just attack with the 4-4. And I also don't think a 1-1 or a 2-2 has a particularly big impact on this game. So I'm going to hold on to those so that I can just flip it to nighttime here and get a specimen on the board, I guess. Alright, now that it's nighttime, when our Hunter trades into their Death Toucher, we draw a card as well. Get the full value from the Wedding Crasher here. Seems very good to me. Alright, send in the squad. They can kill Specimen for free, but then they take 12 from the other two, and I'm pretty sure they want to trade with one of these, and they do. Go ahead and trade with Wedding Crasher, we draw a card. Infested Werewolf. Yeah, Infestation Expert, but it's nighttime, so bam. Get a couple 1/1s when we play this. Again, not going to flip it today. Gonna hold on to these 2 drops. So our Infested Werewolf stays very nasty and very big. Has been imprisoned here, but still 6, 7, 8, 9 damage on board. Seems good. They do get the blood token out of imprisonment as well with 8 mana on board. But an empty board from our opponent with 9 damage on our board against their 17 life. 2 attacks is lethal here. They do play their 9th mana here to go ahead and crack the blood. Discarding a Courier Bat to draw a card. Got a Wolf Strike here too. Seems great. I'm going to play a Doomed Dissenter, but I will hold on to at least 1 card here. I don't believe that there's anything they could do to bring back a by invitation only from their grave to hand, but it's possible that they also have the Black-White Wrath. Nope, just another aim for the head. That's fine. We're still lethal on board. But held on to that in case they had multiple Wraths. They could have had a second by invitation only, as unlikely as that would be. Or they could also have, there's a Black-White Wrath that's like a Black-White and 4 to destroy all creatures. So Doom Dissenter plays better against Wraths while still putting another power on our board. Then even if they Wrathed us, we'd have a 2-2 and a 1-1 Specimen on the board. And another 2-2 in our hand. So I believe that should be game here. They only have 1 other card in their hand. And they're at 8 life. If they can remove Flourishing Hunter, they do only take 4 damage, but that's still dead in 2 turns. So I believe they may have just left the table here, and that should be a victory for us. Alright, well it looks like our opponent did disconnect or leave at the end there. I guess they just wanted to give us another couple minutes to savor the victory, so I will have to go ahead and edit this draft together when I'm done with it, so you all don't have to wait through that there. But that will bring us into the next round with another victory under our belt. Alright, here we are in round 5. We are now 3-1. We're on the play here, no play till turn 3, but otherwise looks pretty good. And I will keep it. Opponent starts with a Swamp into a turn 1 Persistent Specimen. They will start getting some damage on us early in the game here. Hit us for 1, main phase 2. They will play another Swamp. So mono black so far. Turn 3 we're going to go ahead and play our Weaver Blossom so we know we can play a 4-drop if they don't kill it. We've got quite the high curve in this hand, so if they do Hero's Downfall, our Weaver of Blossoms or something like that, we're going to be having a bad time here. Fell Stinger it is. Sacrifice a Specimen to draw 2 cards. They can just get that back from the graveyard later, so an excellent combo from our opponent. And here we are. We do not draw land for turns, so we can only play a 4-mana card. We could play a Diregraph Scavenger, exiling Persistent Specimen, or we could play a Dormant Grove and start getting +1/+1 counters. I think I would rather stop any Specimen combos they have. That seems good to me. Just get that right out of the way and get another creature on this board. So they are black and red. 3 swamps and a mountain here. Do we want to trade Death Touchers? Yeah, that seems fine by me. I do want to stop as much damage as I can as early as possible, and Death Touchers are going to be good. against my 6/6 creatures coming up in the future. So it looks like they just wanted to get their Diagraph Scavenger active, and they succeeded in that. We have 5 mana now. Dormant Grove or Wedding Security or Wolf Strike are the options. We could pass turn to their upkeep, and then it'll be nighttime, so this will be a 3/4, and it'll get +2/+0 from Wolf Strike and kill Scavenger. So that is an option. It isn't useless here, but I don't really want Wolf Strike as Scavenger, so I think I'm just going to play Wedding Security and pass the turn here. Fifth mana from our opponent. Falconwrath Celebrants is now an option at common. Plenty of other cards open as well, but that would just be the first thing that comes directly to mind for a red-black deck, because they are the main vampire color pair, and they are using the Dracula lands. Some vampire swamps and mountains. Looks like a blood-crazed socialite. It is, and that does give them a blood token if they want to crack that to draw a card, but they can also crack that for damage. So we have another Diagraph Scavenger here, which is very good to have on the board when you have a Wolf Strike in hand, because that makes Wolf Strike kill anything. But we can also play our Dormant Grove and start getting counters every turn. I think I'm on the Diagraph Scavenger here. Get rid of their Fell Stinger. Are we cool with losing a Wedding Security to their Diagraph Scavenger? Trade our 4/4 down to their 2/3. Not really. I think I want to hold it as a blocker here still, so we can double block Menace more easily. Block their Socialite with a 4/4 and a 2/3 Death Touch. They get to kill whichever one of those two they want. They have 6 mana now. There is a 6 mana Menace Vampire rare that would be pretty scary. 6/6 Menace that does a bunch of damage to stuff. We do have our Wolf Strike at the ready with a Death Toucher on board though, so we can always kill whatever scary creature they can play from this point on. So Ragged Recluse, Sack of Blood is pretty good here. That will flip into a 3/3 Odious Witch. Drains me for a life whenever it attacks. Alright, Ragged Recluse. Show us what you got. Alright, pass the turn from our opponent, flipping to that Odious Witch, and now we have the 6 mana to start running out Flourishing Hunters, and I'm pretty down for that. I think that is what I will do. Maybe I should have attacked with Wedding Security there, because we're at 25 life now, so we don't really need to worry about holding up blockers. The question now just lies in whether or not we're okay with trading Wedding Security for a 3/3. Because they can, if we trade it for the Death Toucher, we're definitely okay with that, because we have multiple 6/6s coming down that the Death Toucher can trade with. We don't want it to trade with those. But the Wedding Security could also get double blocked by 2 3/3s, and then we just kill the 3/3 Menace. I think we are still okay with that trade, even probably being the aggressor here. So I probably should have attacked with Security last turn and just whittle down their board a little bit. They probably wouldn't let it through, but maybe they just go to 12. Who knows? They do have a little bit of life gain, Odious Witch, but that's not really able to attack in right now. Another Diagraph Scavenger. I guess that's the third played this game, but only the second from our opponent. One of the Scavengers was ours. We're part of the problem. Scavengers are everywhere. I do really like Dormant Grove here, because then we get to spread out our threats. If I just sit here putting +1/+1 counters, I can turn every single one of our creatures into a threat all on its own over time. I'm actually pretty cool with that over the Flourishing Hunter, and that lets us hold up the mana to Wolf Strike something. Because I don't think we're really attacking it against 2 Double Strikers, or 2 Death Touchers yet. But later in the game, by having a Dormant Grove out, we get it to the point where our whole field is just like 6/6s. And then we just attack with everybody. It's like, all right, we'll lose whichever one you want to kill. See, I think I just want to work up my smaller creatures. Work everything up to pretty high power and toughness here. And with how big my creatures are on board, I can just flip the Dormant Grove into the 3/6 Vigilance whenever I want. Which is just going to be whenever I want to attack, which is certainly not yet with 2 Death Touchers on opponent's board. Ooh, they're going to go ahead and Grisly Ritual to kill my Scavenger. So I guess Hunter gets to stick around, but maybe they're trying to get some good attacks in now. Get rid of the Death Toucher to do so. Still don't think they have great attacks. I guess they send in Scavenger. Trades for security, or it gets in for 2. At 25 here, I think it just gets in for 2, especially because we have another Hunter to play. Yeah, that just gets in. Sure. Because they have 2 Death Touchers, I'm not going to Wolf Strike one. If they just had the 1, maybe, so that we could get aggressive. And I guess they only have the 1 to block with. I could Wolf Strike, shoot their only Death Toucher left, and then just attack with a 3/4, a 4/4, and a 6/6 next turn. Does not seem that bad to me. The only thing I don't like about it is then if they draw a bomb, I don't have it anymore. Yeah, I want to play safer on that. Oh, but we drew Hero's Downfall, so now we're safe against a bomb anyway. So yeah, now I can definitely crack one of these to make our attacks better. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I think it's going to be Wolf Strike here. Because Hero's Downfall works even if we don't have a big enough creature. So we attack with all 3, and then they can double block whichever creature they want to kill. Maybe Flourishing Hunter, but then they're down 2 more creatures here. They have just a Scavenger left. And I still have Dormant Grove kind of going off. And if they double block... Actually, if they double block, I could Hero's Downfall and really get them. Just kind of go all in that sense. Then we don't have Downfall to deal with a bomb anymore, but then we still have all of our creatures and we've killed 2 of theirs. It actually does seem pretty nasty. Could be wrong here, but this seems good. This seems good enough to me. To not have that safety valve anymore against big threats from our opponent. Because now they're down to 7 with 1 blocker. Here it comes. The big threat. Oh, a 3rd Diregraph Scavenger. Not a big threat, but it trades into anything, so still pretty good. Also drains us for some life. The Scavenger Squadron coming in hot. Still buffing everything, spreading our threats out. I'm going to play Flourishing Hunter pre-combat because they're definitely going to kill... They're going to kill my 6/6 here. Kill my 6/6 and my 4/5 here. Then I have a 6/6 and a 4/4 left. No, they kill the Wedding Security over the Weaver. I'll take it. Wedding Security does look scarier than the Weaver on board, but I am a low blood token deck. Fortunately, an Undying Malice to bring back the Diregraph Scavenger again. So if there's anybody out there that doesn't know the power of Diregraph Scavenger yet, let this matchup be a big example, because this is obnoxious to run against. That's 4 Diregraph Scavengers we have to fight through. 5. Because they've played 3, brought one of them back, that's a 4th. Now they've played Undead Butler to get another Diregraph Scavenger back. That's a 5th. Yeah. This is completely obnoxious here. Because every single scavenger trades for what we have, no matter how big it is. So any amount of card draw just wins them the game. I think they've actually just got it now because of the Butler into Gargantua. Butler, Gargantua, Butler sacks itself, brings back a scavenger. Gargantua kills our biggest creature. Alright, I'm still going to try it here, but good lord. Pentuple, scavenger. Probably too much. So again, like that scavenger kills that, this scavenger kills that. We just have the Doom Dissenter, basically. If we attack any of their scavengers, and they have 2 more cards in hand. Ooh. Wolfkin Outcast is actually very helpful. If we can get it to flip to nighttime. Because during the night... we draw a card whenever one of our wolves or werewolves dies, which is going to be all the time. Parasitic Grasp, goodbye Doomed Dissenter. Desperate Farmer from our opponent. Gonna keep taking 3 damage from the 3/4 scavenger, probably. No. Interesting. Okay, I guess we'll take 2 from the 2/3 scavenger instead. Another Flourishing Hunter is a pretty great draw. We're not attacking in here still. We would like it to be nighttime, but I'd also like to have another 6/6 out, so. Flourishing Hunter it is. Vampire's Kiss. Just to filter their next couple lands now. Past the turn, we flip this Outcast. Which is pretty big. We can also put a counter on it right now, and then we can't put a counter on it after it's bigger, or the Grove will flip. Should have played a land here. We only need to really hold 1. So I think we definitely attack with the big stuff now. Right, they can kill it all, but we can kill all their stuff too. Right? You know, they kill that, they double block to kill that. Uh-oh. Ballista Wielder is very good here. They can shut off all of our blocks for 3 apiece. They do 1 to any target. Ballista Wielder is terrifying. But they're at 12 life, so they have to make blocks here. Ooh, Infestation Expert as the draw too. Infested Werewolf, really good for us. We could draw a multitude of things off the Wedding Crasher, so I think we wait till post-combat to decide what we're doing here. A 4/4 attacks in, doesn't attack into Wielder well. I think we attack with these 3 because they just replace themselves with Wedding Crasher. Not really worried about holding blockers up because a Wielder can just shut them off anyway. If our opponent can get enough damage to kill us. So I don't see a good reason to flip Dormant Grove. We flip it, stop getting +1/+1 counters on things, and then just attack with a 3/6 into a 5/5, and it just bounces off it. Or the 5/4 and just bounces off that. So we draw 2 cards here and kill both scavengers. Desperate Farmer flips, sure. But then we get to play an Infestation Expert. We could get hit pretty hard here. or get punished pretty hard for not having played a land last turn if I draw a 3-mana creature, because then I could have spent 5 on Expert and 3 on whatever I draw. Instead, I'm only going to have 7 mana here. This is where not playing a land last turn might come back to bite me pretty hard. We'll see, based on what we draw. Okay, it does not come back to hurt me. We hit a Blood Fountain, which is super nice. Super, super nice, but Expert's got to be better, right? Expert, and we can still play Blood Fountain. We will flip it today if we do that, but I'm kind of okay with that, because it shuts off Ballista Wielder also. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Are they scooping them up here? Is that what the GG is for? I mean, I guess I'll say GG also. But, I mean, they still have a shot. I'm still scared. I think this is the actual 5th Scavenger? Or this is the actual 4th. And there's 3 Scavengers in Grave. 3 Scavengers in Grave, 1 on board. They got 1 back with Malice and 1 with Butler. So they've cast 6 Scavengers this game, but they've only had 4 copies of Scavenger. They're down to 7 cards in Library. And Blood Fountain makes it so I'm pretty sure we've got this. Pretty good attack with Harvester, though. Excuse me. I think I don't want them to keep Lifelink around. Okay, so we have 8 mana. We can play a 4-drop if we pick one up. Wolfkin Outcast counts as a 4-drop. Yep. I think that's the choice. Yeah, no, our opponent is still very much in this, because they gain 2 off Scavenger and 4 off the lifelink. It's not over. We don't have a good attack here. They can start shredding away our 1/1s with the Ballista Watcher. That's why we definitely don't target one with Dormant Grove. I guess Berserker can't block. They have 3 actual blockers here. They kill that. Right, and then they double block that. I only kill 1. They kill one of these. I lose these 2 creatures. I have 2 1/1s and a 5/4. Don't think I'm sending in here. Another Voltaic Vision, right? They only have 6 cards left though, so I don't know if they wanna exile the top card of their library again at this point. I guess that is the biggest thing going in our favor, is that like we don't actually have to kill our opponent, we just need to not die for 6 turns. 7 turns, technically. I think we can definitely do that. Kind of like just passing into Bleed Dry so these things flip. They have 4 blockers now. They can't block super well, but they definitely can't next turn, especially with a Bleed Dry. And then we just Bleed Dry the Watcher. It could shut off all our blockers with it if we flip. Maybe we don't want to flip. If Ballista Watcher flips, they shut off all our blockers, hit 5, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's actually exactly lethal. If they shut off our 3 blockers. Yeah, we have to Bleed Dry the Watcher now. Which means our werewolves don't flip, unfortunately. I guess we could still do it in their upkeep, and then instead of going to 0, we go to 5, but that's sketchy. I'm scared. Falconwrath Celebrants, 4 cards in library now, 4 blockers, 3 blockers. can't not flip Dormant Grove unless I cast Wedding Security now. But I mean, at this point, we probably just flip it, right? Alright, they're at 10. They go block. Block trade, block lose a creature. They have nothing else that can block. Yeah, we attack. They're going to lose all their creatures that can block here, but they are going to kill our Outcast and our Infestation Expert. I guess they could take 4 from Hunter and just block the Grove Strider with the Celebrants, instead of the Flourishing Hunter with the Celebrants, so they can keep a blocker around for next turn. Alright, there's the Wedding Security pass. They have 1 actual blocker. Desperate Farmer gains them 2 life. Block there, gain 2. Block there, take 4. They go to 2 life. They survive. They survive barely. They don't have any damage on board, so these are free kills. I guess Desperate Farmer flips, so they're not free kills. We don't have lethal if Farmer doesn't flip anyway, though, right? Yeah, we still don't have lethal anyway, so we might as well kill these. Let them gain a little bit more life. Pack Song Pup? Well, do that pre-combat. Crack the blood. Go out on their own terms. Do they have enough blood to mill themselves? If they have 1 more blood token producer, they can do it. Final card in the deck. Fell Stinger. Oh, they can do it! But they scooped them up there. That was a really nice deck from our opponent. Despite the lack of potential rares. Yeah, they didn't manage to open up any bombs, but, I mean, quadruple Diagraph Scavenger with Undead Butler and Undying Malice. Like, they really almost got us there. Because there was one point in the game where they had a Scavenger on board, a Scavenger in hand, and we only had 2 big threats. And no cards in hand, and they had 2 other cards in hand. So, like, they had the card advantage there, and they had enough Scavengers to trade with everything we currently had. We just managed to draw pretty well off the top from that point to where we hit our creature that would draw us cards when our werewolf died. Like, if it weren't for that, I think our opponent had a really good chance that game. We just got pretty lucky in the end there, so really nice stuff from our opponent. But that will be 4-1 as we head into round 6. Alright, here we are in round 6. Not a great hand. I do really like the green stuff going on in here. Is it possible that we keep this? Blood Fountain, discard like a Dawnheart Disciple, trying to draw a forest to get to these great 4 or 5 mana green cards? Feels real risky, but our opponent is on the play. We're on the draw here. Blood tokens are one heck of a drug. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this hand. Filter through the cards that we don't need, just trying to dig to the green source that we do. See how it plays out. I also don't even have to spend the mana to filter till turn 3, because I can also just play Mind Leech Ghoul turn 2 and just hope for the best from that point on. Yeah, we literally just need a forest, and then the hand's all good. Except for Infestation Expert, but we can wait on the Expert. Might be discarding Pack Song Pup here. We do get the forest here, alright. Probably still discarding the pup. I mean, it's not going to get counters till we hit Infestation Expert mana. we're also at the point now. We don't really need to discard to the blood token if we don't want to. We probably still should. Yeah, I mean, just play Disciple past turn is also fine. We're playing against green-black. Looks like green-black probably high toughness. With Catapult Fodder is the first play. Yeah, because of Blood Fountain, we're always safe to like discard a creature to the fountain, because we can just get it back later if we really needed it. But Packsong Pup's the kind of creature that would have been a lot better earlier than later, so it is awkward to pick it up off a Blood Fountain and try to go off with it at that point. I mean, things are going slow for them. They're still stuck on 3 mana here. They just gift the Fangs a 2/2. They're going slow enough. We'll try to do the Packsong Pup thing here. Could be dumb, but I'm going to go for it. Could have tapped 4 to play the Dormant Grove, put a counter on the Mind Leech School, but instead I could just play the Pup and then play Expert this turn, and the Pup gets a counter every turn, and then we play the Grove afterwards. Okay, this is horrible. We need to kill Lumberknot as soon as possible, or we're just dead. So we need to draw removal. Infestation Expert gives us a Trump blocker, though, which is excellent, and puts a counter onto the Pup, so we have 4 power to double block the Lumberknot. Okay, we're not in that bad of a spot, because Infestation Expert, even if it's daytime, still gives us 4 power and 5 toughness to block with, a 3/4 and a 1/1. But now we're more worried about Catapult Fodder's ability. If they play another high toughness creature, that'll flip and start throwing stuff at us. That will be very bad. So we do have 6 mana to play Grove and Dissenter. Or we could crack this land to a blood. It is another swamp, but I'm going to crack it here. See what we hit. Diregraph Scavenger. I actually do like that a lot. A Death Touch blocker and gain us some life to get us out of the way of out of range of Catapult Fodder, I should say. I don't think we do it yet. I think we just play Dormant Grove first and start getting our counters all over. I like spreading out the power toughness again, I think. Well, we found another card we need to kill immediately. This one we need to kill more than we need to kill Lumberknot, because when they get to 8 mana, 7 mana even, they flip this, their whole field gets +1/+1 trample haste. When your whole board has +1/+1 trample, that's super bad. Haste as well means any creature off the top immediately slams into us. Ulvenwald Oddity is very bad news. Our opponent's got some bomb power here with Lumberknot Oddity. I mean, luckily we're going to have so much to block with Dormant Grove really upping our toughness. And we're going to have a lot of creatures here. So Packsong Pup plus Dormant Grove to just keep making our board thicker and thicker. Our opponent actually doesn't have a Death Toucher, so I do actually like buffing Infestation Expert at least a little, so that when it flips it does get a decent attack in. Although again, with a 5/5 and a 4/4, they just double block with those, and we only kill one of them. Flourishing Hunter's really nice. And they flip to Night, which is really nice for the Werewolf. Yeah, I love that all around. I think we just keep jamming, keep adding power to our board until our board is just more ridiculous than Ulvenwald Oddity could be here. Should have waited on Hunter till post-combat, because I think I am going to attack with Werewolf because we have Blood Fountain. And now we have 2 more wolves on the board, so even if Infested Werewolf dies, our Packsong Pup keeps getting bigger. Oh, they just take it. Alright, cool. They're only 1 mana away from flipping Oddity, so maybe they're trying to get a big swing with that, but even with that flipped, we've got more than enough power to survive. Maybe we don't kill everything they attack with, but we still have great blocks. Ooh, old Rutstein. So now they're going to start getting a bunch of chump blockers too. This is going to be a wild game. Catapult Captain flipping is scary. And they do flip things to daytime, which is not ideal. Yeah, now they might be just in on Catapult Captain here. That is not great. Oh dear. Probably attack with a 6/6 and a 4/5 still. Try to kill a little bit of their creatures, because if we kill some of their creatures, that's less damage they can throw at us with Catapult Captain. We still have Blood Fountain. If we kill any of their creatures, we can do Diregraph Scavenger. Could even go... Catapult Captain's a 6/6 now. We actually can't really attack with Infestation Expert. Still send Flourishing Hunter, though. They probably like double block with a couple 4/4s or something. You kill one of them. No, they're just going to block with a single 1/1. Also fair. We got to play Wolfkin Outcast then. Toxrill. So I lose then. Old Rutstein, Ulvenwald, Oddity, and Toxrill coming in here. Yep. We've not drawn any of our removal. We need to draw it immediately to deal with Toxrill. Yep. Bleed Dry, Wolf Strike, double Hero's Downfall. That is what we need, but we don't have any blood to draw any cards. Can draw cards by Wolf's Dying if we pass the turn. Maybe we're all in on that. But I think Toxrill kills us here. It's very unfortunate. I guess we buff our Weaver Blossom so it takes more time for it to die. We actually kind of want it to die with Wolfkin Outcast, and it's going to get another power anyway. This is absolutely disgusting deck from our opponent. This is a nightmare. Guess we can exile their Pack Song Pup now, but then we're not flipping to night. I think we need to flip to night. Each end step? Beginning of each end step? Okay, yeah, we've lost. Alright, that kills our board way faster than I even thought it did. It really kills it really fast. Honored Heirloom 2 to shut off Blood Fountain. Annoying. Yep, transform the Oddity. God, yeah, and there's another counter now. Not removal. It's nighttime now, though. Oh. Gain some life here. Everything on our board, we have to treat it as -2/-2 from its current stats because of Toxrill. What do we need to keep? Probably put a counter on Mind Leech Ghoul, so at least that stays out. But we let Werewolf die to draw a card off Wedding Crasher. Let Wedding Crasher die to draw a card off Wedding Crasher. Sure, yeah, we'll put a counter on Mind Leech Ghoul, I guess. Good God. Good God. If we kill Toxrill, our whole board doesn't have -1/-1 anymore. Then our board's actually just massive. Draw Weaver Blossoms. That ain't it. Oh, you know, we should have put a counter on Weaver. No, we shouldn't. Because I was going to say, maybe we should put a counter on Weaver. That way, if we had drawn a Hero's Downfall, or a Bleed Dry here, we could still cast it. But then we wouldn't have drawn a card because the Weaver Blossoms wouldn't have died if we put a counter on it. So this way, if we drew a Hero's Downfall, we could cast it. But we didn't draw a Hero's Downfall here. I don't think it matters anymore. I think they have lethal trample damage already. I think they're just toying with their food at this point if they don't attack. Because I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 toughness. Yeah, there's no way that's not lethal. 13 toughness, that's 16 right there. I take 3 from these two alone. They just have to add up everything else to 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh wait, that's like 12 right there. Yeah, they have more than lethal already. Alright, well. Stuck in it, but we didn't draw any removal in the first half of our deck, so Toxrill is going to demolish us. Do I have any way to draw more cards here before I die? I do draw a card when Infested Werewolf. No, I don't. No, Wedding Crasher died, so I don't have any more ways to draw. So unless they decide not to attack again this turn, it's a 0% chance. Even if they do, like if I kill Toxrill at this point, it's too late with Oddity flipped with like 5 slugs. Wow. That was very much a game of Innistrad Crimson Vow there. That was an explosive game, for sure. Alright, here we are in round 7. Opponent is on the play. We are on the draw, but we've got a good curve. Regardless, we'll see what we draw into here. But this is a spicy hand. White-green from our opponent, going aggressive with the Nurturing Presence. Hit for 2 here. Turn 2. Spiked Ripsaw as well. They slapped out on something, make it a +3/+3. Can sack a forest to give it trample as well. Pretty terrifying start from our opponent. We could Wolf Strike something here, but just a 1/2 and a 1/1. Guess we could Wolf Strike in response to them throwing a Ripsaw on something. Feels unlikely to be the play for them, unless they have no more creatures in hand here. We'll get in with that Disciple when it's 3 power. I don't feel like I'm under that much pressure. Dormant Grove is pretty good here. They attack for 3 this turn, and everything keeps getting a counter on their board. Do I want to be able to Wolf Strike their flyer, or do I want to just play a Sharpshooter of my own? Or a Dormant Grove of my own? Play a Sharpshooter of my own, attack for 3 again. Doesn't seem terrible, and then I block the 2/2 flyer. I've got a Flourishing Hunter coming up to gain a bunch of life, so I think we can race here. Actually. Yeah, we can race here. With Flourishing Hunter on 6, let's go for it. Kind of a bold choice, but I think that life gain from Hunter gets us there. The life gain from Minister does change that. Maybe we're not in as good of a spot to race after they drop down a Traveling Minister here. Do go ahead and throw the Ripsaw onto the Efficient. They could flip it right now if they throw a counter on the Efficient, but they're going to put a counter on the Flyer again. Just attack for 5. The Vigilance, quite helpful in the race too. Yeah, that turn, pretty good here. We can downfall the Efficient now. We can downfall and Wolf Strike. Make it so their board is just a Traveling Minister. If I wait and let it flip tonight for Weaver of Blossoms and for Wolf Strike to be bigger. They have 2 cards in hand after this. That might be what I want to do here, but I can also just play Flourishing Hunter and do that stuff later. Man, all these buffs are really good on these tiny creatures from our opponent. I think I'm just playing Flourishing Hunter. Wolf Strike downfall and their upkeep is tempting, though. But then, like, I'm thinking of it, like, these aren't actually that big. They're just getting aided by the other stuff. So then, like, Minister is just going to be a 5/5, right? They put the Ripsaw on it and then put a counter on it. But, I mean, even just whittling down their board is somewhat worth. We're definitely killing the Flyer. So they have the 5 mana to put a counter on the efficient, and then it trades for the hunter, but then they're down to 2 creatures. I can kill both. Yeah. This is some kind of weird combat trick I'll block with everybody. Assuming they just kill Flourishing Hunter here. This is instant speed removal. I get got. Alright, well, I guess I lose. Yeah, that's really bad. Still not the end of the world. We can play our own Grove and kill their flyer. Hold on to Wolf Strike, or we can do both of these and they just have the Minister yet again, but then they still have the Ripsaw. They are at 13. We take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? We take lethal if they throw the Saw onto that and then they flip the Grove. So we can't attack into them and try to race anymore. Killing the flyer here? Are we killing both with Wolf Strike plus Downfall? Maybe. Probably. Wait till they try to Grove something and then kill that. With Downfall. Alright, well this is actually kind of sketchy. Because if I try to Wolf Strike efficient, I'm doing 5 damage to it and they could put another counter on it. So I guess I have to Wolf Strike that in response to them trying to put the counter there. Rather than Downfall that. That leaves it fragile to their removal. Luckily that pans out. Pass turn from our opponent. Probably killing the efficient. Then we can attack in. We play our own Dormant Grove and attack in here, and then they slap everything on the Minister and hit us kind of hard, but it's our best chance to try to race here. Would I rather play Dormant Grove or another Weaver? This is going to be a 3-4. I think I'd rather play that. We're going to get hit hard here. In retaliation, they hit us for 5 if they throw Ripsaw onto Minister and put a counter on it with Grove. So they kill us in 2 hits. But we have Dormant Grove for Vigilance next turn. Okay, no, they draw Flourishing Hunter, so they're not going to hit us here. Alright. But with Flourishing Hunter plus Minister, that life gain there, we're not racing yet again. Could play both of these. If I tap the Werewolf. They throw a Ripsaw into that, that's a 9/9. Triple block with 8 power. Yeah, I kind of think we need to play both of these, even though we're flipping it to the day. They hopefully flip it right back to nighttime for us. This is going to be a little rocky. Do I want the 3/6 Vigilance immediately? I don't think I do. I mean, I'd have 2 3/6s to block, so if they flip their own, then I'm ready. Maybe I do here. I'm going to go ahead and get it here. Sharpshooter off the top. Ripsaw onto the Sharpshooter. Grove onto the Minister. Alright, well that's a pass turn, flip the werewolves. Yeah, I mean, opponent gave us the oops there for flipping the Grove Strider, but like when you think about it, if we chose to just put a counter on Werewolf, we have a 2-5 and a 3-4 to block, and then they just attack with a 9-9 Trample and a 3-6 Vigilance. I don't think we could afford to not flip Grove Strider there. Unfortunately. Diregraph Scavenger is really nice off the top. Yeah, we can't just take a 9-9 Trample and 3-6 Vigilance coming at us when we have a 3-4 and a 3-6. I mean, I guess it's not like we could double block the 9-9 Trample well anyway. We could already block the 3-6 with a 3-4. Maybe we don't flip the Grove Strider yet. Alright, throw the +3/+3 onto the Grove Strider. And pass the turn. We will pass the turn ourselves. Time to see which player draws better. Their board state is better because of the Ripsaw. So, I mean, they're winning on board, so we need to draw better than they draw by a good margin to win this one. Wolfkin Outcast. Well, that will help a lot. Drawing a card whenever our wolves die. I mean, I guess it doesn't really help unless we're getting into combat, which we're still not getting into combat here. So maybe not. Still keep this in hand. We do have a Blood Fountain in the deck. Still, yeah. So we'll hold on to this. I don't think I'm sending in the Scavenger. I still really need to threaten the Death Touch blocker. Yeah. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be bad. I mean, I kill the Sharpshooter. But it doesn't really change anything meaningfully. Because then we're still just staring each other down. Nothing is... The scales haven't tipped either way from that. Twin Blade Geist definitely tips the scales. With Twin Blade Geist, now they can Trump attack with the Geist to get it killed, and then they can throw the Ripsaw into the Hunter, and then they have a 9-9 Double Strike Trample to attack with. And I don't think I can beat a 9-9 Double Strike Trample. They can also just put the Ripsaw on it right now and attack with a 4-4 Double Strike. I mean, we could deal with a 4-4 Double Strike, but once they bring it back, we can't deal with what they bring back. I don't think I can afford to crack Mind Leech Ghoul. They have 2 cards in hand. They're super likely to be sandbagging at least 1 land, so this is just crack Ghoul, hit 1 land. We don't have anything weaker to sacrifice to it. I think we just play it and don't exploit here. This spiked Ripsaw has really shredded our soul here. Alright, well our opponent seems to have disappeared, so I guess we will get the win in that game there. I'll take it. Ooh, and a Leyline Tyrant random reward, so some good luck there in the random ending of that game. I'll take it. 5 wins and 2 losses now. Pretty great run from this Golgari deck so far. Alright, here we are in round 8. I am recording this a day later and a little bit iller, so my apologies for the voice here, but let's finish off this nice green-black deck here. I don't know if this is a keepable hand. I mean, we can't cast anything till turn 4. We basically have to drops
have to draw a 2 or 3 drop here, or we're going to really die to some aggro. Our opponent's on the play too. Yeah, with an opponent on the play, I don't think this is a keepable hand. We could get pretty easily demolished by any decent curve from pretty much any deck on the play. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this since we don't play anything till 4. Alright, we do have Pack Song Pup on 2, Weaver on 3, Scavenger on 4 thanks to the Weaver. Definitely going to keep here. I think I get rid of a Weaver, maybe a land. Because we only need to hit one land, any land hit another Weaver, and I think this might be an 18 land deck. No, it's not. It's still a 17 because we have triple Weaver. It might be a little bold, but I'm going to put a land on the bottom here. I am hopeful that double Weaver gets us there. So our opponent starts with mono white, so they're also having some mana issues, but Weaver works for us, and we did draw the swamp anyway, so now we're doing really well. Definitely going to cast Weaver pre-combat, get that counter on Pack Song Pup before we swing in. Fierce Retribution here. Piercing Light, that is rough. That is rough. That means if we waited another turn, then the pup couldn't die, but it's not a card I'm super high on, so not a card I see a boatload. So I'm not going to play around that one super highly, because Fierce Retribution will just kill it at the same rarity. Oh. So we can play a Weaver, we can downfall. We're definitely not downfalling a guest. Don't really want a Scavenger here. I think we just play a Weaver so we can play the Hunter. Doom to center from our opponent. They are on black-white. Alright, we've got Flourishing Hunter mana now. Probably just drop that thing down, start attacking in. And there's Sigarda's Imprisonment on the Hunter. And a Blood Fountain from our opponent. Certainly some good cards to grind out the long game. We could be attacking with these Weavers, I guess, now. We can't, like, double block and kill one here. Then we don't have blockers up, they're only doing 2. Sure. So yeah, we deal 2 to them, they do 2 to us, just keep that going all game long. I still don't want a Scavenger here. We're not getting the life drain out of it, and I don't want to exile my own Pack Song Pup in case we hit a Blood Fountain. But I guess we could still just play the Scavenger without the life drain. But they have their own Blood Fountain as well. I think I do really want to wait on the Scavenger, plus I do get to flip the Werewolves by waiting here. Speed up our clock a bit. Felsinger's quite nice for our opponent. Draw a couple cards here. Really have the, yeah, they really have the card advantage this game. Persistent Specimen as well for any more exploit that they're drawn to as well. I mean, I guess we get to exile their Scavenger from the grave now. Really not going to break through this board state. So it's officially become a top deck war here, and our opponent has more cards in hand than us, plus blood tokens, so things are looking pretty bad on our side of the board here, because we have to draw into something to break through this board state. Our opponent probably already has the gas in hand to start pushing things in their favor. Opponent attacks with the Socialite, cracking a blood to make it a 5/5 menace here. And the Fell Stinger as well. Easy 2/2 on the 3/2 Death Touch, and then double block the Socialite with 2 3/4s. They can only kill one, and we still kill the Socialite. The trades occur. And a couple more kind of mediocre creatures on the board. Bloodseeker's kind of scary. We may have to Hero's Downfall Bloodseeker if they transform it to the Reveler. Because then they have a mana sink that will close out the game even if they can't break through our board state. Yeah, we might have to downfall that Bloodseeker. Don't think I'm going to do it just immediately here, but in the future there's a likelihood of that. This Blood Fountain's going to go off, bring back Socialite and Fellstinger here. It'll take a little time to reestablish their board of attackers. Alright, flip the Bloodseeker here. Crack the Blood Fountain, picking up the Stinger and the Socialite. Here comes the Stinger, cracking the Specimen to draw 2. Yeah, no, we're in a really rough spot here. They've drawn 4 extra cards this game from Stinger, with the very exploitable creatures like Doomed Dissenter and Persistent Specimen. This is another game where keeping the 2-lander did definitely work out. We certainly got our mana. Alright, Bloodcrazed Socialite back on board. Still haven't downfalled the Reveler because they're not going to have the mana to dump into its ability for quite a while because they still just have gas throughout this game. I guess the argument for killing it sooner is it would give them less blood tokens total, so they don't have as much time to be, or as many opportunities to filter through lands they draw into better cards. Now if I want to cast both downfalls this turn, I have to downfall once here. I guess I'll go ahead and kill the Reveler now. But now I am getting kind of wrecked. I have a single blocker here. They can just start attacking with the 3/2, the 3/3, the Socialite. Can't attack the Socialite this turn, but the 3/2 Death Toucher and the 3/3 Rallier. I can't really afford to block, because if I block, I don't have any blockers for any future turn, no matter how small the creature that's attacking me. I do have a pretty high life total though, so at least I can take a few swings, see what we draw into. If we hit our own Blood Fountain, we're not doing terribly, but I think that's pretty much our only like great draw. Otherwise, like a Flourishing Hunter would be solid. Well, that ain't it. We will pass the turn here. Hold up the downfall. Infested Werewolf would also be pretty good. So Flourishing Hunter, Infested Werewolf, and Blood Fountain probably are three, I wouldn't say outs, but those would be the biggest cards that would start our claw, or our climb back into this game. If we draw that into another one of those, you know, we've still got a shot, but we have to draw like runner on those kinds of good cards here. We've just taken too much time off just dropping lands and passing. And even if we hadn't, our opponent has drawn a lot of cards here. They're doing some good stuff over there for sure. I feel like I still don't block with Scavenger, because like if I trade off with Scavenger here, I'm preventing 3 damage this one time. By not trading off with Scavenger, they don't hit me with these 3 this turn, right? So I still prevented 3 damage by not blocking with Scavenger. And now this next turn, you know, I'll prevent another 3 by not blocking with Scavenger. So I feel like I stop just as much damage not blocking as I do blocking. But I guess that's not really going to be true in a couple turns, because then they'll know that they can just go wide. They can afford to lose some creatures to do extra damage to me. So it really depends how they play here. I think I'm still going to not block for another turn. I mean, I guess blocking would make Blood Fountain mildly better as a top deck. I think next turn I have to cash everything in, though. Block a Stinger, shoot something else, so I get 2 more turns, potentially. Alright. We probably get another draw step, maybe not. If they have removal, I don't think we do. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, we just die. That's 14, I can stop 3 of it. Because Gargantua can sack itself. Or just the specimen, not itself. Didn't notice the specimen under all the stacks there. Either way, that's, yeah, that's over lethal. I can't stop enough. We should have downfalled a little earlier. That would have given us another draw step, but we were not crawling out of this one. These were not the gas we needed this game, so that will be 5 and 3 to end off this draft. Exact C's from our opponent there. Unfortunate game to end it off. So we'll take another look at the deck here. Pretty solid stuff. Nice 5-3 run. Not a ton of synergy in terms of like a specific archetype in this deck. We're not really like the Golgari big butt thing you can try to do or anything fun like that, but we've got some great removal here, some pretty powerful cards, pretty good curve. The curve is like mildly weird with 4 6-drops, but that's because we have triple Weaver. I think overall, I stand by this deck. Pretty fun stuff, pretty good stuff. What are the biggest flaws in the deck? Our 2-drops are pretty low impact. Definitely not a big fan of like Mind Leech Ghoul and Dawnheart Disciple in the deck. Those would probably be better if they were just like the 2-mana 2/4 during your turn Wolf or something like that. I don't know, I don't remember all the good 2-mana common creatures, maybe even just like more Doom Dissenters because they just block more often. Give us more time to get to the big drops like the Flourishing Hunters, the Dormant Grove. Any big misplays? Definitely made some misplays throughout the game again. Head empty, illness and headache day today. That last round, we almost definitely should have gotten at least one more draw step, but I really don't think it would have mattered. Our opponent's board state was ridiculous by the end of that one. We weren't going to claw our way out, even if we had 2 or 3 more turns and drew the best cards in our deck. In the... I don't remember this point because it has been a day since I started playing this deck, so since I did the first 7 rounds. But actually in the matchup where our opponent ended up leaving at the end when we were playing against the Dormant Grove with our Dormant Grove, I think I misplayed there as well. Putting the +1/+1 counter on something that flipped the Grove a little bit early. The reason is I was scared because they were going to get like a 9/9 trample or something like that, but even flipping the Grove, I didn't have enough to block a 9/9 trample. I had like a 3/6, a couple 3/6s and a 2/3, so that'd be 8 power. It wouldn't have been 9 power, so I think I just like miscounted and had hoped that would be enough to potentially block a 9/9 if they wanted to make their 6/6 and 9/9 with the Ripsaw on it. It was not, so I should have just kept getting the counters so that my field keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the game so I can keep up with their Dormant Grove. So that was definitely a misplay there. But yeah, I don't remember. I literally don't remember what decks I was playing against for the other couple losses there. So I don't remember if there was anything else we could do there in those rounds. So yeah, overall, pretty nice stuff here. Wedding Security was hilarious. I guess that is another downside of the deck. The Wedding Security is just a 5-mana 4/4. We don't have enough blood tokens to use it, but it always drew removal, so at least that was nice. This was kind of just our bait. We play this turn 5 to get the removal out of the way to play a 6-mana 6/6 and have that stay, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, nice deck overall, fun stuff. That is going to end today's video. That is going to end the quick draft. As always, if you enjoy these videos, just stick around on the channel. There will be plenty more in the near future. And you can also check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below if you'd like to hang out and chat with me in real time. That is the best place to communicate with me because I am a little less focused on trying to explain all this stuff and just focused on chilling and vibing, hanging out with you all. So check that out if you're interested in that. And as always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.